Good evening, our bursting at the seams audience. I'm up here just to introduce myself. My name is Jeff Ream. I'm one of the school counselors here. I've been here since the 12-13 school year. And starting this year, we're going into some different caseloads, and so I'm actually not going to be the junior counselor throughout high school, but I wanted to make sure you knew names and faces. And also I like to just do a quick disclaimer, one of the reasons why only 10 or 15 people are here right now, a few people will come later, but is because we also broadcast this and record this live. Okay, so we also have soccer and another back to school night somewhere else I know in the district that people said they couldn't make it. And so we record, so if there's ever an event that you can't make, please know that we do our best to record everything that we do and put it up on YouTube, and we'll email it out usually a couple days following. Okay, so you'll see and hear exactly what we see in here, but I also like to tell you that because if you ask any questions, you'll be forever recorded on YouTube. So just think about your question in advance. But other than that, I'm going to get up in just a few minutes after Ms. Django Cohen talks to you guys for a little bit, and I'm going to talk about senior stuff. And what I found when I've done this in the past is we were going to cover some junior level material to start, and then we're going to invite you to actually stay for the senior component. Because what we typically talk about in the later half of the junior presentation is what we talk about also with the seniors, and kind of like that's a big question that a lot of junior families also have. So I hope we'll talk for about 30 minutes to start, then we'll switch over and switch gears briefly into the senior presentation, which will take us to hopefully around 6:30 or so, okay? But I hope that you guys can stay. If you need to leave at any point, don't feel like you're hurting our feelings or anything. Just do what you gotta do. But we will send this out, so if you do have to leave early for any reason, you can catch the tail end if you need to. All right, so I just want to say hi, and I'm gonna turn it over.
Okay, how is everyone doing? Great to see you. Thank you for coming in person. We appreciate it. I'm gonna trade places over here. Okay, yeah, so this is just an overview of what Mr. Ream just talked about. I want to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer Django Cohen, and I have been in Tahoe for 5 years now. I'm from Boston. This is my family, my parents and my brother. This past summer, I go home a lot, but I love Tahoe. This is my fiance. In Heavenly, I love to ski and climb and backpack, so if you guys are into that stuff, I love talking about it with you. Look forward to getting to know all of you guys this year. Okay, so if you do want to see all the resources on the school counseling website, we have it here in the program section of the North Tahoe High School website. So you just click on school counseling, and then this is the home page. Ms. Ream has done an amazing job. There's incredible resources on this page. You can make appointments, you can learn about college and career, you can also learn all about wellness and different supports. So I invite you all to look on that website. You'll find many of the things you're looking for there. So it's junior year, congratulations, you're halfway done. This is a really fun year, and it can be a little bit of a challenging year because this is the year where you are really getting into your academics. You might be taking the most challenging classes that you've taken so far, and you're thinking ahead, maybe these are the classes that your colleges or your post-secondary programs will be looking at. So, it's kind of fun in that way because you might be enrolled in classes that you are more motivated in. Maybe you have your electives that you are more passionate about. You're getting more into your focus. So that can be wonderful. Maybe you're driving now, so you can control your time a bit better. You can drive to school or leave school. So, being mindful of time management with that. And you're being more mature at this age. You can tackle more things independently. You can take on more outside of school, and it's great practice for afterwards. And yeah, so, your brain at this age is super ready to learn, super primed for taking in and absorbing everything, but we're still at a time where we need support, and that's why we're here, and why everyone's parents are here to help you guys along the way. So junior year can, like I said, also be a little bit more stressful. You know, if you're thinking far ahead, you might be getting a little worried. Things are becoming more real now. You might be thinking about planning for after high school and what are you going to do to be ready for that. If you have accrued any credit deficits at this point, you're now trying to make up those credits, and we're here to work with you all on that, so try not to stress too much. We want to make sure that you have a good plan, and we'll get you on track. And yeah, I mean, your brain is developing right now. There's a lot of decision making that you're having to navigate, and it's just, there's a lot of social and academic stressors that can come up for you. And then also, you know, figuring out like what is that balance between doing things independently, but then also, you know, listening to your parents, listening to the teachers or adults in your life to make sure that you have good influences. So yeah, it's just a lot of things to take on this year, but it's going to be really fun, and you have a lot of people here who can help you make the most of it. So, in my opinion, the most important thing in life in general is finding balance. So you want to be doing a lot of things. You don't just want to be doing, you know, only academics or only sports. You want to be getting a well-rounded experience in high school. You don't need to be necessarily thinking, oh, is this going to look good on my college application? You know, that's great, but you don't want to miss high school by being, you know, overly hyper-focused on one thing. This is a really unique time, and you'll never get this time again, so you really want to make the most of it. So we're here to also help you with that balance. Counselors are going into the classrooms throughout the year in order to provide social emotional learning lessons. And then people know about the Wellness Center, so Ms. Stoner is always available for you. And then we encourage you all to make appointments or to just walk into the counseling office if you ever need anything. So sometimes it can be challenging to advocate for yourself or to even recognize when you need help, but if you practice now, you'll, you know, become pretty adept at it, and when you grow up, you'll have even more success navigating your work and family and all the things that come with adulthood. All right, so I'm going to go through a transcript. So a transcript is an important document that you receive here at the high school after you graduate, and also you can get one every single year to see how you're doing. Colleges, any professional schools that you apply to or other programs will ask for a transcript. Even your driver's ed might ask for that if you want to get a discount on being a good student. So the way this breaks down is each block is a semester. And so you'll notice that there is a GPA under each semester, and that is the average of that semester only. So you'll see that every block has its very own GPA. At the very bottom, we'll go into this a bit more, but this is the cumulative GPA, and that's the average of all of your classes throughout the time you've been here at school. And I'll go into detail more about that. But I do want you guys to be mindful of checking your transcript, making sure that it is accurate. You know, even your name, like make sure your name is spelled properly, make sure your grade is correct. If there's any inconsistencies, please let us know. You can let Ms. Blanca know, the registrar, and we'll make sure things are fixed for you. So at the bottom of the transcript, you saw that there are six different GPAs here. So the first two lines, you'll see it says academic GPA. And what that is the average of all your classes that are A through G. So these are your academic-based classes. It doesn't count like teacher assistant or PE, those wouldn't count as part of this. But any other class that's A through G approved for college would be part of the academic GPA. Then at the very bottom, the total GPA, that is the average of all of your classes, no matter what. So PE would be included in that as well. The weighted GPA is looking at any classes you took that were AP, or if you enrolled in like a college class that's UC approved, those would go to your weighted GPA. Unfortunately, honors isn't part of the weighted, so it's only the AP and the college courses. And then your non-weighted is just not considering the level of the class. I wouldn't get too bogged down by this. Colleges will recalculate sometimes based on their own standards. So you do just want to try your best, and that's ultimately all you can control. The right portion of the transcript, it looks at the number of credits you need to graduate from this high school. So 1 full year is 10 credits. You'll see you need English all 4 years. You'll see you'll need math for 3 years, so that's 30 credits. You need a life science, which is typically biology, a physical science, which is typically chemistry. You'll need your world history, US history, and then you'll notice that economics and government, those are 5 credits each, and that's because they are half of a year, and so we consider economics and government to be the senior year history class. You need a year of PE health, which most people did when you were a freshman, and then a year of PE, a second year of that, and then you need 1 year of fine arts, or you can do a world language. So 1 year of either of those will count, and then 1 year of CTE, which is culinary, sports medicine, or engineering. Those each would count for that. And then you need 6 more electives of your choosing. So if you just complete, your 6 classes, at least for the first 2 or 3 years here, you will meet many of these standards, and your senior year, you oftentimes don't need to fill your whole schedule. So it can be pretty nice. So, like I said, the transcript is a document that many organizations and colleges will be looking at down the line. So these are all of the options, 4-year colleges or universities, 2-year community colleges, private schools, trade or vocational schools, the military, career, maybe you'll join the Peace Corps or gap year. There's like infinite number of things you can do after high school. And so the interesting thing is that admissions have changed over time. So this picture is pretty zoomed in. It's kind of hard to see what it is, but it's bark on a tree. And based on this picture, you don't really know anything about this tree. You just kind of know that it's bark. And this is how colleges typically operated in the past. They maybe just looked at your grades. Looked at your transcript and made a decision about you in a very limited way. But nowadays, we have a more holistic view with college admissions, and you can see here a full tree. You see that it is very brown, it has green leaves, there's no other trees around it, there's a story here. So when you submit your recommendations and your activities and your work experience and your personal statement, plus your transcript, you're giving a story about yourself. And the colleges can make a decision about your admission based on more information, and it's called a comprehensive review. So 4-year colleges and universities, there are in-state public schools. There's so many infinite options, but California, for example, has so many. University of California, and then the state universities. And then you also have out-of-state public schools, so you could go to UNR. I like to put in my alma mater here because UMass Amherst, yay. But really, any state that you want to live in, you can find a public university there if you want to attend there. It's more expensive if you're out of state, but there are options for you. And then another great option are community colleges. So community colleges are a little different in that they are not competitive in as far as the admissions process go. So you don't really have to prepare the same number of documents to apply. You do just have to decide, what is a location that I want? Does this have a program that I am interested in? And maybe you'll look, or they have some guaranteed transfer programs that will connect directly into a four-year university afterwards. So these are things that you want to look at. But the cool thing about California is that you are eligible for free tuition in certain circumstances. So that doesn't include fees and room and board, bless you, but it does, help. And every bit that you can save with financially with college is useful. So check that out. We have local options, Lake Tahoe Community College, Sierra College, and Truckee Meadows Community College, or a few. And then there are many, many trade and technical schools. These are more professional programs. They just put you directly into the training to get into the career that you're looking for right away. This is sometimes a really great fit for someone who knows exactly what they want to do when they graduate, and they just want that training to get right in there. You can sometimes find that you'll have financial aid for these programs, and a lot of times these careers have shortages, and they do need workers, and they pay wonderfully, so it's something to look into. Universal Technical Institute, Wyotech, these are automotive or other machines like airplanes. You could be a technician. And then Culinary Institute of America if you want to be a chef. And then there are a multitude of apprenticeship options if you want to be an electrician or plumber. These can be a really great avenue. So there are so many options, but it's hard to know where you start in getting into these places. So you do want to really reflect on, yourself and what you're looking for. What are your values? Do you want to be close to home? Do you want to explore our country or even go abroad? Do you have, specific size preferences for schools? Do you want to, have a lot of athletics? Do you want there to be a D1 school with a lot of school spirit? These are all very important factors that'll help you to be happy and successful at your college. You also want to look at the financial aspect of school because, college is quite expensive in a lot of cases. In thinking about those and reflecting on your values, then you'll want to start doing your research. And you can do so in a lot of places online, but you do all have access to SCORE, and you probably all worked on this program in your Pathways classes already. But there's a great Discover tab, so if you click on Discover and put all your factors in that you're interested in, you can start getting colleges pop up for you, and you can begin filtering them. And you can follow these schools, so you'll get updates, and then you can actually create a whole list, adding them to My Colleges tab. And we can come into your classrooms and help you guys with this. You can also pop in and see us, and we can show you more. And so the important thing to do is if you do have schools that you're interested in, you want to connect with these schools. And so you can reach out to admissions officers and ask questions. Maybe alumni, you want to ask, about their experience. You definitely want to visit schools because the vibe on the campus is a lot different sometimes than the website. So, go to the dining common, eat the food, maybe sit in on a class. You can also, talk to students who are walking by and see how they like it there. These are going to give you a really tangible way to know if it feels like the right fit for you. Please come and see me. I'm happy to meet with you guys. I'm happy to, help you with your research, happy to, help you get your focus down on some of your values. And we will also be inviting you into meetings later in the year, but if you do have some questions now, you're always welcome to make an appointment. And then lastly, it can be hard to remember all the things that you're doing in your research, and so I really advise you to have some way of tracking it. So you can save your Schools on Score, like I mentioned, but you might want to make a spreadsheet on Google Sheets, or have some folders going that you and your parents can work on together. Take notes when you go on your visits so that there are little things that you might forget and you can reference them later. You really just want to have a way to look back on these things when it's come time to make decisions. And then there are a lot of other options, like I mentioned. So if you aren't interested in college right away, you might want to take a gap year. There is the Gap Year Association. They actually have a lot of programs on their website that are accredited, and you can do so many things, like you can travel, you can do volunteer work. It can be a really fun way to take a break from high school and then start your studies a year later. The Peace Corps, and another amazing opportunity where you can travel and give back to the world. And then there are so many branches of the military, and we do have recruiters who come by here, and you can get connected with them if you would like to learn more. So with all of these things, it's always just important to get involved with your interests here at school or in the community, because all of those things you do will be on your activity resume and being placed into your college applications or your applications for these programs. And so if you can start building your skills now, it's really beneficial to be a desirable applicant. So I do want to talk a little bit about testing. You'll probably be familiar with these logos here. AP, that's the exam for the AP tests that the AP classes that you're currently enrolled in now. That's an optional exam you can take. The ACT and the SAT, those are the large-scale standardized tests that some colleges will ask for. And then the PSAT is the practice exam for the SAT. And so we are holding the PSAT here at the high school on October 24th. And tomorrow is the last day to register. So if you have questions about that, please let me or Mr. Ream know. Mr. Ream sent out an email earlier this school year giving instructions for how to register, and there's just a form. The test is free, and it's just a nice way to practice because you're not always sitting in on these large-scale exams, and it might not always be as comfortable for you. So it might just be nice to get your feet wet. It is something to know, the juniors who take the PSAT are eligible for the National Merit Scholarship Program. So every junior who takes this exam in the entire nation, their scores are all compared together, and the very top percentages are actually offered scholarships. So it's a very small number of people, but it's still kind of cool to know that you could be part of that. And keeping in mind COVID is definitely not what it used to be, but it's possible there may be test interruptions or cancellations last minute in case an outbreak happens. So just being aware that could be something to plan for. So testing now is very different than it used to be. 80% of colleges in this country now are test optional. And what that means is that you can choose to submit your exam or not. So you can take the test and then don't feel like it's really a representation of your abilities. And so then you just choose not to submit it and you won't be penalized for it. So that's a really, really nice thing. And the other thing is that all UC and California state universities are test blind, and community colleges are too. And what that means is that it doesn't matter if you got a perfect score on your exams, the colleges won't even look at it. So testing now isn't quite as high stakes as it used to be. If you are interested in seeing if your school is a test optional or test blind school, you can go onto fairtest.org, and they have the list of every single school that is categorized this way, and it's helpful for your planning. And so, like I was talking about before, the AP tests are the exam that are part of your AP classes, and they are optional. This exam, you do have to register on the My AP portal, and your teacher will help you out with this, but they will receive a code, and you'll go onto your portal, and you will need to indicate if you're taking the exam, because right now, you are defaulted as no, you're not taking the exam. So everyone does have to opt in and say, yes, I would like to take this exam. The deadline is November 13th at noon, and the order is placed at 2 p.m. that same day. So what that means is that no changes can be made, so you do have to make your decision by that time. And if you change your mind on November 13th at 4 p.m., it's unfortunately too late. You won't have to pay until late January for this exam. And the tests are offered in person, and there's a national window of time from May 6th to May 17th. And it's possible that your tests may be digital, but most of them are in person at your desk. So yeah, there are no makeups, so just mark your calendars now. If you are pretty sure you will take an exam, you want to make sure you don't schedule anything during this time frame. And please, ask your teachers, ask us if you have any questions about AP. All right, so it's fall. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna get started? So the most important thing right now is just to really get involved in school and continue to try your best, make the most of this year. It's possible that your courses are harder, like I mentioned, so you want to practice being on time, coming to school every day, and staying on track with all of your homework. Also, using your RTI periods and asking for help. It's okay if things are difficult. There are people here to help you, and learning to take advantage of that will be very beneficial. Now is a great time to be reflecting on your values and your goals and the things you enjoy so that it can help you to make decisions and start your college and career research. And like I said before, keeping track of all the things you do, all the things that, any awards you've received, any activities you do, any of the research you've done, just having these ready to go will be useful, especially for college applications or different programs you might apply for. They might ask how you spent your time in high school, and if you have a list of all these things you've done, you can just pull from that. And yeah, just doing what you're doing today, coming to these workshops and remembering this information and asking questions. There's a lot of information out there for you if you just take advantage. And so come a little bit later in winter or spring, hopefully you'll have had a little bit more time for research and more of a perspective on what you're looking for after high school, college-wise potentially. And if that college does require a standardized test, you'll want to make sure you register for one. Tests you can take one as early as February or into the spring or even the summer. And we will be having college reps coming here to the school. We already have many of them scheduled, so check out SCORE to see when the reps are planned to be here. Usually they're during lunch. And yeah, continue to keep your grades up. And then in May, you'll have the AP exams if you're signed up for them. And just a reminder about the graduation requirements. So community service will be a requirement. We do require 24 hours to graduate, and there are actually 2 requirements with community service. So you need 24 hours to graduate, but you also need 8 hours per year to pass your Pathways class. So if you add it up, it's recommended 8 hours per year, and that equals 24. If you earn like 22 one year and 2 another, that 24 will work towards your graduation, but that 2, that will not allow you to pass your Pathways class. So just keep focused on 8 hours per year and you'll be good to go. And so there will be a college fair at Truckee High School on October 5th. There will be 30 colleges, plus maybe more. There'll be trade schools and apprenticeship opportunity programs to look at and talk to people. So everyone's invited. It's from 5 to 7, Thursday, October 5th. And we'd love for you to stay for our seniors, because it's gonna come pretty quick. So thank you all for your time. And yeah, let me know if you ever need anything this year.
So we're going to take just a second to switch a couple things over here, and then we'll get started with the senior session. Seniors and juniors who will be staying, there will be a few things that you'll notice are repeated, but mainly because the seniors missed a few things that are still applicable. But just hang in there for a second while I flip a couple things over here, and then we'll get going.
Any questions while we do that from the juniors? We can have a second for questions if you want to ask them now.